Hello world, Shelly here, and it's time for your Friday Foundation Fix, where you can get your fix of foundation reviews in between foundation fests. And today I'm checking out the much requested new release from PUR, the 4-in-1 Love Your Selfie foundation. This retails for $36. You get 1 fluid ounce of product, plastic bottle with a pump. And the reason this has been taking the world by storm is that it is available in 100 different shades, 40 of which you can get online at Ulta's website. And I got the shade LP4, Light Pink 4, which is meant for fair skin with pink or cool undertones. They have several shades more fair, so 3 more shades lighter than this. They address a multitude of undertones at each lightness and darkness level, which is very likely to make it possible for just about everybody to find a match in this foundation. That is awesome. Let me read you some of the information about this. It is vegan and cruelty-free. They say, redefine complexion perfection with PUR's groundbreaking long-wear foundation and concealer. Check this out. So you've got a pump, typical pump. But if you unscrew the cap, you also have a doe foot. Crazy, right? So you can use this as concealer as well. Instantly masks blemishes, imperfections, leaves a natural skin-like finish. It's a multi-purpose complexion miracle. Come on now. We'll see if it's a complexion miracle. Conceal blemishes, dark spots, imperfections with the targeted doe foot applicator. Packed with skin-loving ingredients, the long-wear formula helps protect skin against environmental stressors like pollution and high-energy visible blue light for healthy-looking complexion. It's got an energy complex with ginseng green tea and vitamin B to help skin's natural metabolism, rejuvenate the skin's appearance, a lingonberry extract, polysaccharide film for a protective, breathable film on the skin to help shield it from pollution. Keratin complex, smooth and refined texture, gluten-free. Don't eat your foundation, kids. And I also picked up from PUR this is called the Beholder brush. This thing's whack, you guys. Ulta had a deal where if you bought the foundation, you could get the brush for $10. It's a kabuki brush, but in the middle, there's this silicone center. I don't know. This is supposed to be perfect for applying foundation. We're gonna find out. So let's take a look at this LP4 swatched against a few others in my collection. And on Fridays, we swatch. First up is today's foundation, the PUR 4-in-1 Love Your Selfie in shade LP4 Light Pink 4. Second is the Estee Lauder Double Wear Stay in Place in 1C1 Cool Bone. Third up is MAC Studio Sculpt in NW15. Fourth up, I've got the Giorgio Armani Power Fabric in shade 3.5. And last, I've got the Too Faced Born This Way in shade Porcelain. I've already cleansed, moisturized, and sunscreened my face. I'm starting out with 44-year-old skin, sunspots, deeper smile lines, forehead lines, large pores, texture between the eyebrows to cover up. I have primed with the PUR No Filter Primer. Figure we'll just make it an all-out pure kind of day. Let's see how this pump works. It's a pump. I'm going to start out with a sponge. This is the Real Techniques Miracle Complexion Sponge. It has been dampened. This has really nice coverage right off the bat, even with a sponge. I'd say we're at a light medium right off the bat. It is blending out very easily. That looks very nice on the skin. Very skin-like, but better, which is what I'm always looking for. I think we got really good redness cancellation from one side to the other. Very nice so far. Now, they do recommend that with this brush, you pump it directly into that little well, but I'm not doing that. This is blending out just fine with the brush, though I will say I'm not a fan of how this brush feels. The bristles just feel really cheap, and I would rather use my e.l.f. Ultimate Blending Brush. It feels much nicer on the skin than this thing, but in terms of how the foundation is looking, I think it looks just about the same one side to the other. I think you can go brush or sponge based on your own personal preference with this one. Coverage, I think, is even about the same from one side to the next. The finish is very nice, very skin-like. This is a pretty foundation right off the bat. I've got a tiny bit of product left. I'm just going to try to build up a little bit where my sunspots are. I'm just going to tap it in. Let's just tap. Whoops. The brush did shed on my face a little bit. Now that it's foundation, let's try it as concealer. Get the doe foot. I usually use a concealer that is just a smidge brighter than my foundation, so this would not do that purpose. Let's do one side with a concealer brush. This is the Sephora Pro number 71. Yeah, normally I'd go for a brightening concealer unless I was doing a no makeup day, in which case I would not be wearing foundation, but we will just go with the match today. Blend it out just fine with a brush. Let's try the sponge. I think it works well as concealer too. It blends out both ways just fine. I feel like it's a good medium coverage. Right now I don't see anything settling into lines. We will see how that goes. I think so far this is looking quite nice. It's got a really nice solid medium coverage. I used about a pump and a half of product on my face, and everything looks pretty smooth. The only thing I feel like we're at a little bit of risk of potentially looking a little bit heavy in a couple spots, like my nose, for example, but on the bright side, the coverage on my nose looks really good. You know, it looks like it could borderline be heavy on my cheeks and borderline could be heavy looking on my forehead, but it's not heavy looking yet. It just feels like it could have that tendency. We will see how that plays out throughout the day. My forehead looks a little bit more dry than I would like it to. I prefer a little more smoothing on my forehead. By the same token, I think I can see a little bit more texture on my cheeks than I normally can. So I don't think this is exceptionally smoothing. However, I could put down a smoothing primer, silicone primer, and that could alleviate that. Overall, I think it looks really, really nice so far. And so far, I think the color is okay too. Let's check the time. It is currently 1:25. Let me put the rest of my face on. I'll be right back. Okay, so far so good. I did end up setting this foundation lightly with the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish because it stayed pretty tacky. I also noticed it started to settle just a little bit into my smile lines and my crow's feet. I just tapped it out very lightly with a brush. I ended up then later tapping out my under eye one more time because the foundation, as it set down, seemed to sort of solidify around the lines under my eyes, and I wanted to blur that back out again. We will see if that stays put the way it is, and otherwise, no trouble at all. Just a little bit of powder was enough to make everything blend nicely. On the rest of my face, I've got the Balm Desert Bronzer, the e.l.f. Primer Infused Blush in Always Rosy, and my Natasha Denona Super Glow highlights. And my eyes are I filmed this eye look. I don't know if it'll go up before or after this. It'll come up after this. The BH Cosmetics Opalescent Palette and the brand new CoverGirl Exhibitionist Total Stila Glitter and Glow dupes. Their glitter liquid eyeshadow. This is friggin' amazing. It feels just like using the Stilas. Go grab them. I'm happy right now. And my lip is the Buxom Gloss in French Martini. I'm also trying out for the first time the Flower Beauty Princess Warrior or Warrior Princess mascara, and I really like it. This is 2 coats, and I think it's a very nice fanned out kind of effect. Very pretty. So that is where we are starting out. I will be back in a bit with a daylight check-in, then I will come back at the end of the night and give you guys my final thoughts. Hey guys, a rain light check-in here. It's been about 3 hours, and let's see, color match. So far so good. I think the shade is maybe a smidge too light for me or too dark for me right this second, but this looks like my typical summer shade, you know, so there's me now. But give me a month and I think this will be the perfect shade for me, which was kind of what I was hoping when I bought it. So far it looks really nice. I still don't like how many of my micro wrinkles I can see on my forehead, but no trouble with wear so far. Feels very comfortable, lightweight, no issues. My last trip to the old CVS before I take off and fly overseas, so then I'll be shopping at Boots. There we have it. 3 hours in, I'll be back tonight with a final wrap-up. 2:01 a.m. What does that make this, a 12 and a half hour check-in? It's been a while. It's been a while. So, how did the PUR 4-in-1 Love Your Selfie foundation that comes in 100 shades, how did it play out? Well, I think it played out fairly well. Let's pull up the mirror. Definitely a dewy finish. I think it got more dewy throughout the day. I don't think it looks greasy. I don't think it looks shiny. I think it's dewy. It's definitely dewy. So if you're not into that, don't go there. But I think it's a very nice, pretty looking finish, even at this point in the day. I think at a conversational distance, this still looks okay. It's not obviously flawed at a conversational distance. I'm looking in the monitor. You pull up the 10x Simple Human Mirror, and 12 hours later, I'm getting pretty much the typical wear down. But I'm getting the typical wear down that on some foundations starts happening after 6 to 8 hours. And we're 12 hours into this one. So let's take a look up close. I haven't lost as much coverage as typically happens with most foundations. What's happening is the product that's there is sort of breaking down and losing its cohesion. So there's a little redness coming through on my chin and around my movement areas of my mouth. The product is, bunching up just a little bit. My nose has the beginnings of some polka dot pores happening where the bunching up is happening in my pore areas. Blush bronzer highlight is still very well intact. I have a little bit of glitter fallout from the CoverGirl, so they don't stay in place quite as well as the Stila. So there's your mini review on that. The areas between my eyebrows, it's not caking up. It lost a bit of coverage, but it still looks fine. Forehead looks just about the same as it did. I still see more micro wrinkles than I would like to see on my forehead, but I feel like I also could treat that with, a line blurring primer. Like if I wore my Strivectin Line Blur Effector, I think that would be enough to combat what I'm seeing. That little bit of settling I was getting into my crow's feet and my fine lines, like my smile lines, that did not recur. I don't really see any additional settling going on. I did get minimal settling into my deepest chin lines, but I don't know really many foundations that don't do that. So, in terms of how it feels, it's comfortable. It's lightweight. It's not the lightest weight I've ever worn in terms of a product, but it's lightweight. Didn't notice it all day. Definitely comfortable. Almost went to bed without filming this. Went to wash my face and thought, I'm still wearing makeup. Oh my gosh, I gotta go film the outro. So that's a good sign because we are way into the day. I feel absolutely not dry in any way, shape, or form. In fact, in order for me to feel this level of comfort, this has to be a hydrating foundation at some level, because I dehydrate so easily that every foundation at the end of the night is generally, unless it's hydrating, I've lost moisture. So I would say this is a hydrating formula. If you've got dry skin, you are a-okay with this one. If you've got maturing skin, I think this is it. It plays nicely with maturing skin. If I had to give a grade to the PUR 4-in-1 Love Your Selfie, I wasn't even going to order this one, you guys. I really wasn't. I just did it because you kept asking. 100 Shades is impressive, but I've had PUR foundations that didn't work out for me in the past. This one gets an A, you guys. I really like this. I think the coverage is great. I think it wears exceptionally well. I think it's a-okay for dry and maturing skin. It's checking all the boxes. What would make it a more perfect score? Maybe if it was like in the very lightweight category in terms of how it feels on the skin, and, you know, out of the box, maybe if it did more blurring of texture. But I mean, these are really I'm reaching here for things that I don't like. So there you have it. We're going solid A. I have not had a solid A in quite some time. Happy days are here again. The PUR 4-in-1 Love Your Selfie. The name's kind of meh. Meh. I love my selfies anyway, but I'll take it. We got an A on our hands. Happy day. There you have it. Another Friday foundation fix is in the books. If you enjoy foundation reviews, if you had fun with this one, give me a thumbs up down below. Let me know in the comments what foundations you would like to see next. I will do my best to get them going. Of course, you're going to see this while I am in Ireland, so all of my videos through the 3rd week of July are pre-filmed, because I pre-filmed them because I'll be out of the country. I will still be in the comments. Don't you worry. 3 videos a week will be going up every single week. That is the plan. I will do some vlogging, and I will also be posting Ireland stuff on my social media, so check all of that out. And as always, thanks a lot for taking some time out of your day to geek out over makeup with me. Come back every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time for new videos. And I hope you all have an awesome day or night wherever you are in the world. Take care of each other. Bye-bye.